Thank you everybody for joining us on a great event. I'm Jano Lieber, MTA Chair and CEO, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Jamie Torres-Springer, who runs MTA Construction and Development, Chief Accessibility Officer Quimel Arroyo, MTA Arts and Design Director Sandra Bloodworth. Sandra, this amazing art you're seeing all around her was Sandra and her partner Cheryl Hageman's work. Amazing, amazing. Thank you, Sandra. Times Square Alliance President Tom Harris, thank you for being here. And New York City Hospitality Alliance Executive Director Andrew Ridgey. Broadway Association Chair, the legendary Christine Nicholas. And we're joined for a little bit of upgrade in terms of creativity. We're joined by Brittany Johnson, who plays Glinda the Good Witch in Wicked. Brittany, thank you for being here. Brittany, not to be overlooked, native New Yorker, right? No. Oh, she went to college with Quimel. I got confused. All right, today we're here to celebrate the opening of this new and stunning subway entrance here at Times Square. It's part of the 42nd Street Connection Project. The 42nd Street Connection Project was a series of projects in Times Square and Grand Central and 6th Avenue that we put together and decided during COVID, we're gonna knock all this stuff out. So you see this amazing new entrance, you see the changes to the 42nd Street shuttle, which is much more usable on a single platform, which is ADA accessible for the first time. And over at Grand Central, we completely blew out, expanded, and redid the Grand Central subway mezzanine. We redid a lot of the escalators. We're in the process of redoing the elevators. The 42nd Street Connection Project represents what the MTA was doing in the middle of the pandemic, which was building faster, building better, getting the system ready for New Yorkers to come back, and we're very proud. This is a highlight of that effort. Remember that we completed phase one, as I said, of the project last fall, which was the redesign of the shuttle, straighter tracks, ADA accessibility, and a single platform. The upgrades that we're unveiling today, in addition to that, are perfect complements. The new entrance provides direct access to Times Square, what so many people call the center of the world, the Times Square Broadway Plaza, with a new 15-foot wide staircase right here with 450 square feet of extra. Does anybody remember that tiny old stairway that was over by the USO at the other side of the shuttle? It was so inconvenient. You saw so many tourists coming down there and being disoriented. Were they able to get into the system? Not anymore. Now we have a really first-class entrance from the center of Broadway Plaza. The new canopy over those stairs was designed to evoke the Waterford crystals that are that ball that drops on New Year's Eve. This is directly connecting to one of the most iconic aspects of Times Square in the canopy over this new entrance. And it leads to a completely redesigned turnstile area where, in addition to the new fare array, we've added LED lights, new digital information screens, and 18 CCTV cameras. You'll see that there's a new elevator that's been installed as part of the MTA's ongoing effort to increase ADA accessibility. This is among our very top priorities at the MTA, which is making the MTA subway system. The bus system is fully accessible. Now we're pushing to make the entire subway system fully accessible, and getting a new elevator in Times Square is a huge step forward. Jamestown Properties, which is the owner of One Times Square, was our partner in this, and I want to acknowledge their work, their leadership. The station was already accessible, but this is huge to get an additional elevator from right at the heart of the plaza. And aside from being functional and all that good stuff that I've ticked off, look around. I mean, this is some of the most amazing artwork in the entire MTA subway system, which is famous for beautiful mosaic work. And now we have this unbelievable installation by Nick Cave. Sandra, when you and I talked about this years ago, we couldn't even imagine how this has come out and how much this really adorns the subway system and provides tourists with the first impression of just how much great art there is in this amazing old system that we're always working to update and modernize and hopefully make more beautiful. Thank you again. The timing couldn't be better to cut the ribbon on this project given the resurgence of Times Square and of Broadway. I've been to a couple of shows in the past couple of weeks, The Minutes, American Buffalo, packed houses, good stuff. The Tony nominations were just announced last week, and theaters are expecting a lot of business as people are returning to travel, but also this is the peak of the tourist season that we're encountering. So this is a moment when Broadway, our iconic cultural center, is coming back to life. And we're excited to welcome more riders back to the subway system, building on the gains that we've already experienced. On May 5th, we had record 3.5 million ridership. Last week, both Long Island Railroad and Metro North had their best days since the beginning of COVID. We are on the march in the subway system and in our commuter rail system in getting people back to where they want to go post-COVID. We're moving full speed ahead to break all these records and power the region's revival. There's no recovery for New York without mass transit. We're going to do whatever it takes to keep the system and keep New York moving. So let me turn it over to my partner, Jeremy Torres Springer, and some other folks for additional thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jano. This new entrance, including the ADA accessible elevator and the ongoing expansion and renovation of Times Square Station, in addition to all the amazing things that the chair pointed out today, also signifies MTA and MTA Construction and Development's successful approach to delivering capital projects through innovation throughout our system. The new entrance, as you heard, includes the construction of a new staircase, a new platform to the mezzanine, the Broadway Plaza work that took place at street level, and installation of the largest mosaic art in the system at 4,600 square feet, as well as the brand new ADA accessible elevator built by Jamestown. All of this work gets done while running the busiest station complex in the system, under the busiest public gathering space in the world, coordinating with public utilities and other agencies, and preserving the historic character of this station, Times Square Station. Despite all these challenges, I want to acknowledge and thank our team who brought this project in $8 million under budget and on time. And let's just take Just want to take a minute to thank specifically Matt Zetwalk, our project CEO, Asnaki Kabede, our construction manager, our partners. Everything is done through partnership. Our partners, MLJ Contracting, and we have Fatmir Kastrati here with us. And AECOM and NIAC, who were the construction managers who did the oversight here. I also want to make sure, as Jano did, that we acknowledge Sandra Bloodworth, Cheryl Hageman, and her team. This is such an amazing piece of mosaic art. Sandra shared with me the story, that is so timely of Nick Cave and the development of his approach, which came in the wake of the Rodney King events, and really could not be more meaningful than it is today, given the tragic events that have occurred over the weekend and that continue to happen across the state and around the country. So thank you. The project is a great example of how MTA has been making the most of lower ridership during COVID to transform the system and expedite the projects that make a real difference in daily commutes. As our riders are coming back, which they are in droves, they're finding a rehabilitated L train tunnel, elevators at another 11 subway stations, including this one, Omni live across subways and buses, the ongoing improvements that come along with Long Island's third track, and tons of new digital signage that gives real-time information to our riders. Less visible projects as well, the fortification of the Rutger Tube, signal upgrades across the system, and the ability to move trains at higher speeds through stations. Many more improvements have occurred that I've mentioned, and many more are along the way. Jano's motto is our motto, better, faster, cheaper, and we're very proud to show that off today at this new station. And with that, I want to bring up my colleague and friend, Camilo Arroyo, for some remarks. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jamie. The improvements we're celebrating here today are just the latest steps in our phased approach to enhancing accessibility here at 42nd Street. As you heard from Jano, we opened up the first phase last year. This is the second phase. And the third phase will be concluded when we make the passageway accessible, which we plan to do in this capital plan. The first part of this project made the shuttle accessible for all riders. Today, we are supplementing that access with a new entrance and a new redundant elevator attached to One Times Square. This new entrance provides yet another pathway for riders with disabilities, parent strollers, and everyday commuters to access the busiest stations in our system. And this isn't your standard elevator. It's a new model for New York that includes the technology to provide two-way communication via text and audio to customers in need of assistance. That means riders who are deaf now have a means to communicate with us, and riders who don't have the ability to speak are also able to engage with us. That is a huge enhancement in our system. The city relies on a truly inclusive public transportation system to power its recovery and carry millions back to work, to school, cultural centers, and entertainment. No New Yorker should be excluded from that revival. But with this particular lineup, I also want to say no New Yorker should not have a means to get down to Broadway and watch my dear friend Brittany Johnson in Glenda and Wicked. Brittany, I want to thank you so much for being here with us, because you being here tells New Yorkers and all viewers that New York is back. As Jano said, he's been going to Broadway, I've been going to Broadway, A Strange Loop, although nothing compares to those flying monkeys in Wicked. And executing our vision is not easy, but it is a more than worthy mission, and I am committed to leading the MTA's effort to working closely with the advocates and the community to continue to improve accessibility throughout our system. Now I'll turn it over to Tam Harris, President of the Times Square Alliance, for some remarks.
Thank you very much, Camille. Good morning and welcome to Times Square. It's always great to celebrate an opening in Times Square, whether it be a Broadway theater or an accessible subway station. I'm honored to be here today representing the staff of the Times Square Alliance, who work tirelessly to make Times Square clean, safe, and desirable for all. Last week, over 2 million people walked through Times Square. We saw 2 days where we broke 2019 numbers. Times Square is back. We're better than ever. Our theaters are open. Our hotels are at 80% capacity. And now, thanks to MTA Chair and CEO Jano Lieber, MTA Construction and Design President Jamie Torres Springer, and MTA Chief Accessibility Officer, Senior Advisor Camilo Arroyo, Times Square is more accessible to those arriving by subway. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the construction team that made this possible. Anytime you do something of this magnitude in a pedestrian space occupied by as many people as Times Square is, there are always challenges. Thanks to Asnaki, Fatmia Castrati, and Pete Moosbrugger, those challenges went away with one phone call. They were always there, they always took the phone call, and they made this happen with minimal impact to the neighborhood. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Christine.
All right, I'm up. Thank you, Jano, and the entire MTA team that's here today. You know, I chair the Broadway Association, which is a 111-year-old association which came together during the construction of the New York City Transit subway system. And the reason it came together is businesses were advocating for transportation safety. So here we are today, and under Jano Lieber's leadership, we are getting that today, not only on the safety level, but look at behind me, all of these people that work to make this safer and more accessible. So thank you, Jano Lieber and the MTA. You know, the businesses in Times Square and Broadway are the economic drivers to our city. And as we are approaching the peak spring and summer tourism seasons, these improvements couldn't come at a better time. It will help 13 million theater patrons get to the show on time, and millions of workers get back to work on time. But there are 36 shows currently running on Broadway, which is terrific. It's where we were pre-pandemic. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that one of those shows happens to be my favorite, Wicked, and we're so happy Brittany Johnson. And just a little note about Brittany, she went from standby to center stage as the first Black Glinda in the history of Broadway on Wicked, so we're really proud of you. But just in closing, to get New York back on track, the Broadway Association looks forward to working with the MTA, Jana Lieber, and your team. New York feels back from a Broadway point of view, and this is going to help us get back on track. Thanks, Jana.
Andrew, please.
Thank you. My name's Andrew Ridgey from the New York City Hospitality Alliance. Our organization represents restaurants, bars, and nightclubs. And I was on my way over this morning and I said, I'm going to a ribbon cutting for a new subway entrance. And someone said, but restaurants, bars, and nightclubs, why? Look, it's obvious. Look, crossroads of the world, our restaurants, our bars, our nightlife, it's part of the economic and social fabric of Times Square. And if you own a restaurant or a bar, you have to create an experience. It's about hospitality, something that people are going to remember, people are going to enjoy. But it's not just what happens for the customer experience when they're in the four walls of your business, it's everything that happens on the way there, when you're leaving. And so many people take public transportation. So having people on this beautiful, accessible station before they go out to eat, drink, see amazing Broadway shows, is such an enhancement to the overall hospitable experience. So we're thrilled to be here. It's not only going to help our businesses, but all the people that work throughout the 5 boroughs in our businesses, making sure they're getting to work and they're coming home from work through a beautiful station. So thank you to everyone. And then the last thing, which is more of a personal note, I was just through here with my daughter the other day, and we were kind of like running up the steps, but now we're going to not only just run, we're going to sit, stand. This is beautiful, and there's so much to enjoy. So congrats, everyone, for making this happen.
Okay. So we've entered the part of the program where Tim Minton is our guide, the Q&A. But I would just want to say that nightlife, New York nightlife is back. It's so much part of the fabric. Party on, Andrew, and all your members. Okay, quick Q&A. Hi, Kimberly.
While this is all beautiful and it is very nice, what would you say to those who are concerned New Yorkers? You're at 60% ridership pre-pandemic. Many people still worried about crime, and they say, while this is great, we need more done in that area. What would you say to them?
Listen, obviously it's going to take us a while to get back to where we were. We're all making that transition. We're all slowly figuring out how to resume our former ways of life. But New York does not work without mass transit. We are twice as dense as Boston and Chicago, 9 times as dense as Phoenix or Houston. New York needs mass transit to operate at all. So having great mass transit, especially at the busiest station, at the crossroads of the world, is really important. We're making it better system, more accessible, elevators for not just the disabled, but people with strollers and seniors and everybody. And we're also improving the system as we did right through COVID. Safety continues to be an issue, but there are some indications that we are making progress. All of us are seeing the mayor's commitment to putting cops on platforms and on trains. Actually, if you're riding the system, you're seeing the cops. And if you pay attention to the crime reports, suddenly there's a significant number of people who do bad things who are being collared. So I am optimistic that the mayor's commitment, we work closely with City Hall and with the system even better in terms of operation and its physical condition, we're going to be getting people back as the city recovers.
Hi, how are you? Congratulations. A question off topic. We're expecting potentially severe weather tonight during the evening commute? Is there a plan in place? We've all seen the video of the subways being flooded. So what's the plan currently?
So we always have, we have emergency operational plan for every form of weather. We obviously have dealt with significant winds in the last few weeks, and every time we actually systematically monitor wind speeds, and we close down bridges when it reaches a certain level, or we put restrictions on the bridges. Likewise, we're completely ready for all of the weather. It's pretty routine. Don't forget, even when Hurricane Ida showed up, we pumped 90 million gallons out of the subway and reran service. We ran service a couple hours after the rain stopped. So the subway system is going to operate. We're ready. The bus system was heroic during Ida. We're always ready for weather.
Good afternoon. Just wanted to know if you could talk about this arrest Saturday night with a guy with an AR-15 on the subway and a loaded handgun. That's pretty alarming considering we had the shooting over the weekend as well involving a high-capacity rifle.
I don't know all the specifics, but what we need to focus on is cops in the system saw somebody, were suspicious, took action, and the guy was arrested. That's the significant information, which is the cops are here, they're on alert, there are places where the passengers feel vulnerable on the trains and on the platforms, and they're taking action. As I said, we're seeing a lot more collars where, if something bad happens, train pulls into station, cops on the platform arrest the guy. Someone pickpockets, cops arrest them coming out of the system. We're seeing some benefits and results from Mayor Adams' plan to put cops on the trains and on the platforms, and I'm optimistic.
All right, just to your left, right there, white jacket.
Just going off of Sam's question, is there anything, I mean, it's an open system.
Yeah.
Had there been any consideration of any type of detectors or bomb-sniffing dogs or other measures that you could take in really what is an open system? I know there's bag checks occasionally, but
Yeah.
what do you do?
I mean, look, this is public space, so we're part of the public space in New York, and we're not going to take New York away from, the subway away from riders. But we're looking at all that as technology develops. We're definitely looking at it. Mayor Adams has expressed an interest, and we're in discussions with them about the thoughts that he has. And if there's ever a technology that allows us to increase safety and prevention while not turning a public space into something different, we're gonna definitely get into it.
I've got two for you. You mentioned last week that you were thinking about possibly bringing in new promotions or discounts to get more people on board. Can you tell us a little bit about what your ideas are floating around? Are you looking at a monthly or daily fare cap or a round-the-clock city ticket, anything like that? What are you thinking of? And then
so it's premature because we're still in the pilot for our very successful first round of fare discounts, the Lucky 13, where you get a weekly unlimited as soon as you hit 12 rides in a week, hugely successful. On the Long Island Railroad and Metro North, the percentage of riders who are actually traveling between New York stations has soared. So the city ticket program has resulted in a dramatic increase in the percentage of commuter railroad riders who are actually riding between New York City destinations. We're having growth in the 20 tickets. So we're still looking at the results of this pilot, but we will continue to look for new ways to make the system more appealing to our riders. And we're also looking forward to when Omni is completely finished, because we've deployed it without all of the software having full functionality. We're going to have additional opportunities to explore and ultimately provide additional discounts. So we're still in the testing phase, but Omni so far, huge success with the discounts already.
And then one more, I've got Mayor Eric Adams announced that the city might be going into a high level of infection rates and hospitalizations. I was wondering what you at the agency are doing to avert a kind of mass COVID wave that you had last time where you had to shut down 3 lines for a period of time. What are you doing differently this time so that doesn't happen?
So, we're part of New York, so we have some of our employees get sick when everybody else is getting sick. But what I would say to you is our rate of positivity on our tests, and we have a lot of people taking tests, is much lower than I think it was about a third of the cities and less than a quarter of the state. So we have low rate of positivity. We've made progress in hiring, so we're ready if, God forbid, there is an upsurge that affects our workforce as well as New Yorkers in general, and we're going to do our best. Last time, we didn't have to interrupt anybody's ability to get from one station to another. The lines that we temporarily suspended for a couple of weeks were strictly ones that have duplicative service compared to other lines. So that was a positive outcome, and we're going to keep trying to minimize any impacts if there is a COVID upsurge.
Last question, then we're going to cut the ribbon over here. Anna, New York Times.
Hi, Jano. You mentioned, this accessibility issue is a top priority for the MTA. Can you be more specific about that? Like, what are you doing system-wide?
Sure.
And also, you guys mentioned this project was, I think, $8 million under budget. Can you elaborate on that and tell us what did you do to
I'll let
achieve that?
Jamie answer the specifics about the numbers in the project. But what we've got, Anna, is never before has the MTA built elevators, ADA elevators, at anything like the pace that we're building now. We have a commitment to, I think there are 80 80 plus elevators that are under development right now through the MTA capital program. We've already let contracts, or in the process of letting contracts for 26 just this year, the first year when we really got out of COVID and were able to start doing new contracts. So the pace of building new elevators is completely unprecedented. And we finished, during COVID, we finished, I think, 14 elevators, 14 stations with new ADA accessibility. So the goal is to completely increase the pace that we're attacking this challenge of not having a fully ADA accessible system. We want it to be there. So we've got $5 billion, the other to your question, we have $5 billion in the current MTA capital program just for ADA elevators.
Everybody, if you just stay in place, we're going to have a ribbon cutting right in front of you. And then because it is Broadway, we're going to play you out with music from the fabulous Egonom right here. All right? All right, hang on. Don't want to be overzealous. Everybody's ready. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Yeah!
Thank you.